Hey everybody, Patty Ann here again today. Hey, remember the other day when I showed you how to make these cute little key fobs? Today I'm going to show you how to make and customize some really cute little dog bone ones. Lots of people have been asking for this video. The file will be linked down below for you. I'm not affiliated with the person, but I love this file. I think you're going to really like it. I also have links to the clipper I'm going to use, the snap kit. It's really inexpensive and this really works well as where I got my leather, in case you're interested. I'm also going to have a link up above or maybe at the end of the video on a Minnie Mouse one that I made. And in that one I showed how to cut fabric with your Cricut machine or your Silhouette machine to use when you're making these. So I'm going to show you how you can customize these really easily in Embrilliance software. So let's go to my computer and get started. Okay, this is where I got my files that I used from a little place called Thread Mode. I'll have a link down below for you so that you don't have to remember this if you don't want to. I clicked on this one right here, the digital file 4x4 hoop. Okay, like that. And then you get these two different options while you're doing it. You're going to get the little one that has stitches inside or one that just has the satin stitch around it. You get the snap tab with this, and this is the one I'm going to do right here. But you can also get these ones that use eyelets if you don't want to use the snap tab. But I'm going to do the snap tab one. So all I did was added it to my cart and checked out. And then when I downloaded, I had to extract it, the kind that I use, the PES that I use for my brother machines. Then I opened that up in the software. So let's go there now. So here I am in Embrilliance, and I'm going to go to File and Open, and I'm going to find, I just came right to my files because I've already had it open before. And what I really like about this, if you have a 5x7 hoop and you have two people that have dogs that you want to make them for, you can do two at one time, and they have that perfectly sequenced, so it does all of the blue stitches, which is the placement stitch for this one, and then continues on. But for today's purpose, I'm just going to do the one. So let's see, I'm going to do the one that doesn't have the fill stitch. I'm going to do this one right here. So I'll click on it and then say open, and there it is. Now right now I have my 5x7 hoop open. Notice I don't need that big of a hoop open. So I can just come right up here to the preferences and come, right now it's at my 5x7 hoop. I can look for my 4x4, here it is. Yours may not say 4x4 in front of it. Mine does because I came over here to edit, and that's when I typed this in 4x4, so I didn't have to remember the metric. And then I said okay. So 4x4, I'm going to apply and say okay. So there it is in my 4x4 hoop. Now let's check it out. Let's open up the objects panel and see what's over here. And let's run the stitch simulator. I'm just going to click right here and let it play by itself. So the first thing it's doing is the placement stitch for the leather. After it does that, it's going to start doing the satin stitch for the bone. So all of this is what it's laying down beforehand so that the satin stitch is very nicely done. In other words, it's the underlay. So let me speed through this a little bit. So by clicking this and just dragging it along to go a little faster, and then next it's going to come to the black, which will be the puppy dog feet, and I need to hit play again. And then it's going to do the little pads, and again that's fairly long, so I can go ahead and go through this fast. Now at this point, if you're not going to put a name on your little key fob or whatever you want to call it, you can just continue running. But what you'll do is you'll stop and you'll place leather underneath your hoop. And I'm going to show this to you under your hoop so that it'll have a nice backing to hide the ugly stitches that are on the back of this. But before I do this part, which is going to tack down the part in the back, I want to go ahead and put a name on mine. So now I'm going to come up here to the letters, create letters. Notice it comes in obviously with the ABC. I'm going to click off. I'm going to change this to say, oh, I'll say Roxy. No, I'll say Callie, my friend's dog. And if you haven't seen Callie, she's really funny on YouTube. I can link that down below for you too if you'd like to see. But I'm going to hit enter, and there's Callie. And I'm going to have to squish this down, right? So it's going to fit in here. Now, all I used was the regular block that comes in it. So if I place it right here, okay, notice it's not centered. If I want her name to be centered beautifully, I have Callie chosen over here. I'm going to hold down my control key and click the bone so her name and the bone are selected. Then I'm going to come right here where it says align and distribute, and I'm going to say center right here, center, and apply. So notice what that did. It put the name Callie exactly in the middle where I wanted it to be. Now the thing is, I don't want Callie's name to stitch at the end of all of this. So what I'm going to do, remember I said I wanted it to stitch before this blue that's going to attach the backing. And I'm going to show you this at my machine. But I want to move Callie before that. So I'm going to click on this, drag it up. I'm holding my left clicker button down, mouse button down, and I'm going to put it right up underneath the paw, right on top of it actually, and it'll put it underneath. So now see, it's going to stitch all this. It'll do the paw and then stop and then the other part. So let's watch. Here's the stitch simulator. I'm going to do the placement stitch first, the bone with its satin stitch, the little paw pads, and then whatever color I want to put in, it's going to stop at the end of the black paw pads. I don't have to do it in this lilac-y color. I can put any color thread I want in there, but it's going to type out her name or stitch out her name, and then after that it's going to stitch the back part on. So we have a nice backing, and the very last thing it does is it makes the two little holes that we'll be pushing out with our little tool that we have in the kit that came with the little awl, AWL tool. So let's go to my machine and I'll show you how this works. Okay, now that I'm done with this, I need to save it. So I'm going to save the stitch file on my thumb drive, which I'll put into my machine. So I'm going to come up here to File, Save Stitch File, and I am going to save my working file later too. So all I have to do when I want to change out a new name is just click on this, change the name, and save it again to restitch it. But I'm going to say Save Stitch File As, and I'm going to find my thumb drive on here. So I know it's my USB drive. I'll click on that, and then I'll name this something, Key Fob. Key Fob. And I'll save it as a PES because that's what my machine uses. And I'll say save. Okay, I've added this extra attachment to make it easier for me to put my thumb drive in, and also might save this area right here. So once I have my thumb drive in there, I'm going to go ahead and click here so that it'll start loading in everything that's on my thumb drive. And then I'll use this button to go forward until I see mine. Now, the only disadvantage of the PE770, or one of the disadvantages, although this is my favorite little workhorse, is that it's not in color. So it's a little harder to see what you're looking for. That is it. Okay, so there's the thing I want to use. I'm going to go ahead and hit the up arrow. And now it's going to start working. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to do the placement stitch so I know where to put my leather that I've chosen. So I'll go ahead and do that. I've already threaded my machine, put the presser foot down, and just let it stitch that. Hopefully what you can see is that it has done the placement stitch, so I know where to put my leather. And then the next thing it's going to do then, I'm going to put this over top of that, making sure I'm covering all of it. And if I'm worried, I could put a little bit of sticky stuff on it, but I think I'm okay. So I'm going to hold this right there, or just leave that right there. If I want to hold it with something, don't do it with your fingers. Find something else to hold it with. But I'm going to do the bone now. It's going to be the satin stitch of the bone. So I'm going to put my presser foot down, and this is the color I want to use, and just go ahead and go. And if I feel I need to hold this, as I said, I can hold it with something. And I can pause right here for a moment so that I can snip off that tail and continue. I got kind of close to the edge. I hope I'm safe. Now it's adding the underlay so the satin stitch lays nicely on top. And now it's doing the satin stitch. I was thinking I was going to do black for the little paw, the little pads underneath, but I think I'll just do brown instead. I'll use the same brown that I've used here. So once this stops, it's going to stop my machine because it's expecting me to change the color of the thread, but I'm not going to change the color of the thread. I'm just going to hit go again. So now it's going on to step number 3, which are the pads. I'm going to go ahead and lift this up and pull this out and cut the thread here in this machine. Then I'm going to put the presser foot back down and just hit go again. After it goes a little bit, I'll go ahead and cut off right now maybe this little tail. Like that. And once again, it's doing the underlay so that the stitching, the final stitching that goes up top will be very nicely done. No puckering. Okay, I wanted to show you what is stitched so far. I think it looks fabulous. I decided to do the name Callie in a hot pink because Callie seems like she'd be a hot pink kind of girl. At the end, when I put the extra sheet on the back right here, the extra piece of leather, it's going to cover all of this stuff up. But for now, let's put the name Callie in there. So it's on, ready to go. I've already put my pink thread in there, hot pink, and hit go. Okay, that's finished, so I'm going to unclip that. I'm going to bring this out now. I don't have another piece of leather, this exact kind. So what I'm going to do is take my large scissors and just cut down here, because I know that will be enough. Oops, maybe you can't see. I've cut half of it off. This piece I'm going to put underneath. When I put this underneath, flip this over, stick it so the right side is up like that. And if you want to, you could take a little bit of spray, like a 404 temporary spray, and spray the back so it doesn't move for sure. Just stick that on the back like that, making sure everything's covered. And then place this back in the machine. And I'm going to feel under here to make sure it's where I expect it to be. Now what it's going to do, it's going to sew an outline. Now this outline will be visible, so I have to decide what color I want to make it in. And I'm thinking I'll just leave it in the hot pink. Maybe that will be cute. Fingers are crossed. Let's see. After it's done stitching around here, then it's going to stitch the holes up at the top so I know where to put my little doohickeys. If you can see, it's doing a bean stitch. It's going back and forth, so it's a nice heavy-duty stitch. I think that I'm also going to use pink for the little holes, and then for my snaps, I think I'll use pink as well. And I'll show you how I do that shortly. Okay, it says it's finished sewing, so I can take this out and show you what we have. So notice now you can see where the little spots are, and that's where I'll push the awl through before I put my snaps on. I think it turned out super cute, and you can see the back is going to look pretty nice too, although I might have wanted to have changed the color of my bobbin thread, but it's not really necessary. So now at this point now I can pop this out, and I can peel some of this back first because I'd like to cut this stabilizer close in there. So I'm just going to cut close in here like this. Remember, this is a cutaway stabilizer. I just don't really want it peeking out. That's why I'm kind of cutting it in here like this. I don't want to cut the leather though yet. Gonna cut the leather shortly. Okay, so there's that. And now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut, whoops, where are you? Cut the leather. So about 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch away, just kind of go around here. And I can cut it once and then come back with some smaller scissors later if I need to fix it up a little bit. Next thing I'm going to do is get my little awl and poke out these little holes, and I'll show you how to attach the snaps. Okay, my snaps came in a little kit like this. The two things that you'll need out of here, and I like to keep this with this thing. Okay, the two things that you'll need out of here are the awl, which is this little guy right here, and there's another one there, 2 different sizes, and this tool right here. Okay, I will also need to pick out which snaps I need. So let's get rid of this. Open this box and see. I already see which ones I think I'm going to use. These right here, right? That'll be so cute. So I'll need 2 of these that are like thumbtacks. I need 2 thumbtack ones. And one that seems like it's called the male one because it pokies out. And one that's called the female one because it kind of goes in. All right, here's a female one that kind of pokies in. It's not the same, right? So if you want to test them, you can put them together to see how they'll work. Like this, snap them together. Did you hear that snap? Then you got to try to get them apart. Whoops, I just threw one on the floor, darn it. Okay, there's the male part. Here's the female part. So they'll snap together just like this, right? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take this one right here, And I'm going to use my awl first. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use my awl and poke this hole in here. Okay. And I'm going to poke the hole in this side as well. All right. Then I know that I want the pretty side or the flat side of this to show right here. So I'm going to push that in there. And I'm going to push it in so it's nicely in there. Then I'm going to take this part right here and put it on top of that little pokey out thing, right? With the male part or the pokey out part up. Now, when you get this tool, you'll know which way to put it, because if you can see in this little spot right here, there's a hole. And that is where the pointy part of the thumbtack is going to go. So you're going to line that up like that. Oopsie. So it's best to put it like this. And if you put the thumbtack right in there, you can feel it won't move. It goes right into a little spot where that black thing is. Goes right in there, and then you just squish it down like that. And there it is. It's on there perfectly. It looks cute. I didn't trim any of my jump stitches yet. I'll do that in a bit. So then I'm going to want this piece to just be as pretty. So I'm going to take the thumbtack, push it through the hole like that, and make sure that you really kind of push down around it. Okay, that's going to go like that. Check it out. Then you're going to take the female part into which this piece is going to go. So I'll put it like this. And once again, I'm going to take this tool, and the best thing to remember is there's this little part that's black. Your thumbtack will fit right in there and won't move if you have it situated right. It just stays. So then you'll just click on down, and there you go. And now check this out. Here it snapped beautifully. So that's how easy it is to do this. Okay, love it. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you like this tutorial and you'll go ahead and purchase this little key fob thing. I'd love to see what you guys make. Down below I have a link to my Facebook group that's sewing and embroidery with Patty Ann. Also check out the links down below to get this design and some of the other things that I've told you about that I use. Again, thanks so much for joining me. Please, please, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the bell if you're not. Every time you like it or give me a thumbs up or comment, that helps so that YouTube will put this out there so more and more people can see it and learn from it. So again, thanks. Bye for now.